Sri Rupa Goswami gives an example of the clouds in the sky. The clouds in the sky arise from the ocean, and when the clouds become water again and fall to the ground, they glide back to the ocean. Thus, the pleasure potency of Krishna is compared to the ocean. The pure devotee is the pleasure-possessing cloud, and when he is filled with transcendental loving service, then he can bestow his mercy as a downpour of rain, and the pleasure potency returns to the ocean of Krishna. Just like we started off today. Sangsara dava nala lidha loka. Tranaya karunya gana ghanatvam. The spiritual master is pouring the rain of his mercy on the blazing forest fire of material existence. And only the blazing fire of material existence can only be extinguished by such a pouring down of mercy. It's also said that the holy name descends directly from the spiritual world. That this holy name cannot be found in this material world. It cannot be discovered by any material process. It cannot be experienced by the material senses. It's coming from Goloka Vrindavan. Golokera eva dhana harinama sankirtana. The holy name is descending directly from Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual world. So, when we hear the holy name, and especially when we chant the holy name without offenses, Krishna is immediately there. Why? Because we become linked with Krishna's pleasure potency. Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare means Radhe. Radhe is Krishna's pleasure potency, his Hladini Shakti. So when we chant the holy name successfully, which means offenselessly, we immediately become linked through Hare to Krishna. And Krishna is there. Krishna is fully present with all his potencies in his holy name. So when we chant this holy name, this Maha Mantra successfully, then Krishna is there, Krishna's abode is there, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's associates, Krishna's qualities, everything is there. If we're not experiencing these things when we're chanting, then we are chanting offenselessly. Offensively, right. And our offenses are covering up the real glories of the holy name. So we can very easily understand by our experience in chanting. If we're chanting and we're not seeing Goloka Vrindavan and all the pastimes of the Lord, then we're not chanting the pure holy name. We're chanting some reflection of the holy name, Namabhas. Okay? And of course there are different degrees of this reflection. But still, the full potency doesn't manifest until we are fully offenseless. So, next section is titled Direct and Indirect Attraction for Krishna. Transcendental pleasure derived from devotional service can be divided into two groups, direct devotional service and indirect devotional service. Direct devotional service is divided into 5 transcendental humors or flavors, and indirect devotional service is divided into 7 transcendental humors. Direct devotional services are as follows: neutrality, servitude, fraternity, paternity, and conjugal love. Indirect devotional service is divided into laughter, compassion, anger, chivalry, dread, astonishment, and ghastliness. Devotional service can therefore be divided into 12 types, each of which has a different color. The colors are white, multicolored, orange, red, light green, gray, yellow, off-whitish, smoky, pink, black, and cloudy. The 12 different kinds of devotional humors are controlled by different incarnations of God, such as Kapila, Madhava, Upendra, Nrsimha, Nandanandana, Balaram, Kurma, Kalki, Raghava, Bhargava, Varaha, and Matsya. Sustenance, manifestation, expansion, reflection, and lamentation are the 5 visible symptoms in exchanges of ecstatic love. The test of devotional service can therefore be made in terms of these 5 symptoms. In the devotional service of neutrality, there is sustenance. In chivalrous devotional service, there is expansion. In compassionate devotional service, there is reflection. In angry devotional service, there is lamentation, and so on. So, before I go on, I just want to say that as far as I know, the colors given here and the incarnations are not necessarily in the same order as the rasas. Yeah. Because there's another statement in a different place. Well, actually, in the Brihad Parashara Hora Shastra, for example, that Mars, which rules anger and chivalry, is ruled by Nrsimha. And there's similar statements about the other planets. And, of course, his color is Rakta, red. And but the order given here is not the same. The order of the colors and the order of the incarnations is that they don't line up. So, lots of luck. What's that? Research opportunity for those who are so inclined. But all these things are so esoteric that, it's very difficult to actually make a clear determination. And then sustenance, manifestation, expansion, reflection, and lamentation. These are the visible symptoms. But then the invisible symptoms include, of course, the emotional color and flavor, different bhavas. And these are actually more important. So then he goes on to say, an apparently pitiable condition in devotional service may appear distressing to the inexperienced student. But the feelings of the devotee in this pitiable condition are considered to be ecstatic by expert devotees. For example, the subject matter of the Ramayana is sometimes considered pitiable and distressing to the heart, but actually that is not the fact. The Ramayana narrates how Lord Rama was sent to the forest by his father just when he was going to be enthroned. After Lord Rama's departure, Maharaj Dasharatha, his father, died. In the forest, his wife, Sita Devi, was kidnapped by Ravana, and there was a great war. When Sita Devi was finally delivered from the clutches of Ravana, Ravana's whole family and kingdom, and Ravana himself, were vanquished. When Sita Devi came home, she was tried by fire, and after some days she was again banished to the forest. All of these subjects in the Ramayana seem very pitiable, and they may appear to be very distressing to the reciter, but actually they are not. Otherwise, why would Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Ramchandra, read daily about the activities of Lord Ramchandra as described in the Ramayana itself? The fact is that in any of the above-mentioned transcendental humors of devotional service, everything is transcendentally pleasing. So we might hear about, some of the vyabhichari bhavas like grief and devastation and like this, and think, oh, how terrible, oh, those poor devotees, they're suffering like anything. But they're not suffering at all. Because everything they're doing is in touch with Krishna. And even if there's some external manifestation that appears pitiable or displeasing, internally they're relishing devotional service. For example, there's that quotation about Radharani, that when Krishna was attacking her on the bank of the Jamuna, that externally she was resisting, but internally she felt very pleased. So these are very common. Actually, in ordinary emotions also, there are often conflicting feelings on different levels. It's just that in ordinary life, we don't have the language to talk about these things, so we usually miss them. You know, if you don't have the language to describe something, it's very, very difficult to be conscious of it. Well, I'm going to talk about something in this connection after we finish discussing Nectar of Devotion. So if we have the language, if we have the term,